Hello, friends and family. John Love was touching base with you once again to give you a new medical update. It is now Tuesday the 29th, I think, and it's late in the evening. It's like 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that. And I'm home. What about that? Just home. The doctor told me when we started on Friday, I said, "Doc, how long will I be in the hospital?" And he goes, probably for you 10 days. Oh, that was horrible news. I regretted that. And don't get me wrong, Cleveland Clinic is one of the best hospitals in the world. They are top notch. They're on the spot. They take care of everything you need. But there's no hospital, as good as it can be, that matches being at home. And so I did so well on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the first 4 days I was there, that they said, maybe if things keep going like this, we can let you go home tomorrow. And I got excited because we've already been there 4 days, and me and Debbie were like, oh man, let's not get our hopes up. They might tell us we can't go for some reason. But all the blood work comes back good, and all the scans come back good, and everything looks all right. And they said, you're doing better than expected, so you may go on home. But getting discharged from the hospital is never quite that easy. No doctor ever looks at you while you're in the hospital and says, yeah, I believe you're ready to go home. And then they just let you leave. That doesn't happen. There has to be all kinds of things there are all kinds of mechanisms that are in place that have got to be stopped, and things have got to be undid that's been done. For example, I had 3 IVs in my body. They had to remove all 3 of those IVs. They had to come around and give me final medicine. They had to come around and give me instructions on what to do after I got home. They had to give me prescriptions for stuff. They had to tell me, what it is that I should do follow-up wise. Should I have a CT scan in the next few days? Do I need any blood work in the next few days? Things like that. And so they're giving me all this stuff. And they got all that done pretty quickly. But then, we were waiting on pharmacy to bring me one of my medicines. And they said, yeah, don't go to a pharmacy. It'll take forever for them to get it. We'll just fill it here. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because they got their own pharmacy in the hospital. And so they said, we'll just fill it and we'll bring it up to you before you leave. And I said, okay, cool. So they went to fill it, and he was gone. He was gone. And he was gone. And he was gone. And I asked somebody, when they go to fill those pharmacy prescriptions, how long does that normally take? And they said, about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on how many prescriptions he's got to fill. I said, well, it's been that, and we haven't heard from him. Well, we'll put a call in. So they put a call in, and they said, no, he's not responded to us. He must be overbooked or something. Oh, well, that's great. We were sitting there packed, ready to go, coats on, shoes on. And we waited, 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 and we waited. They brought me lunch, like I was still a patient there. At that point, I already felt like I was discharged. They said, here's your lunch. I was like, I don't really want it. Debbie said, I'll eat it. Because poor Deb hadn't had anything to eat that day. They had brought me breakfast earlier. But Deb hadn't had anything to eat that day, and she didn't want to stop going home. She wanted to go on home because it's like an 8-hour drive, right? And so Deb ate my lunch real quick. It was chicken fingers. She likes chicken fingers, even hospital chicken fingers. And so she ate them. We waited and waited and waited some more on that guy. It was like 3 hours for that guy to get my prescription back up to me. And then that finally came up, and they said, all right, now all we got to do is wait for the transport team to come get you in a wheelchair and wheel you down. I said, okay, cool. How long does that take? And they said, they'll be here in about 10 minutes. 30 or 40 minutes later, they finally show up. There's some kind of rule, some kind of unwritten code that all hospitals abide by. And that code is this: if you're anxious to leave, we must do everything in our power to make it take as long as possible. And they did. But they finally got us out of there. And we finally got on the road at about 2 o'clock today. And then we drove, and it was cold, and then that Arctic front is coming in, and And it was cold up there, and it's still cold down here in Kentucky. There's not a lot of difference in them. But we drove through the blinding whiteout snow for about an hour coming home. I mean, we thought we were going to have to pull over and get a hotel room or something. But I looked at the radar on my phone, and I said, well, this doesn't look like it's that big a system. It should dissipate. And so it finally did, and we were in open sky again, and we came on through. And we only stopped a couple times to use the restroom or get a water or something, get some gas, and plowed on to Kentucky, and we finally made it home. And here I am sitting in my old recliner. This is Debbie's recliner now because I've got a brand new one. But, you know, man, there's no place like home. It could be Donald Trump's personal hospital where millionaires get treated, and it would be the worst experience possible compared to being in your own chair, in your own house, sleeping in your own bed. So I've got some things and some difficulties to overcome. I came out of surgery extremely swollen. Feet and legs are swollen. Midsection is all swollen. The internal organs are all kind of puffed up. That's got to go away. I understand that over the next week or so that'll go away. I take a fluid pill with my blood pressure medicine. That should help that to go away. Soreness in my abdomen will just dissipate over time. If you see the incision, I'm not going to show it to you because there ain't nobody business. But if you were to see it, it would look like I had zippers sewn into me at two different angles, one up and down, one left to right. And so those have to come out in a couple, 3 weeks. That's not that big a deal, but they hurt. And so I'm dealing with that. They give me some medicine for, discomfort, and stool softener to make sure everything's flowing. Because if that don't work, that ain't no good. And hopefully I'm back up on my feet in the next couple weeks, back to work, back to regular life, and hopefully by then Debbie's not killed me because she's a little short with me now. Good as she's been an angel. You could tell when her patience is wearing thin because she starts to snap just a little bit. But she's been out of her way to do everything she could to make sure I was the most comfortable. She drove home today for 8 hours straight and did not look up. And she was a real trooper. Because normally I do all the driving and she doesn't feel comfortable in some of those tense situations, especially with big city traffic and stuff, where they're doing construction and stuff. She just manned up and just took care of it. So she did really, really good. So good news is we're home, but I'm still not well. I still got some healing to do here at the house. And I hope to see you guys out and about again in the next few weeks. But until then, my name is John, and we're signing off. Happy to be home. Happy back in the Bluegrass State. God's country. You guys have a good night.